Donald Trump is expected to be officially selected as the next U.S. president in an electoral college vote taking place across the country.
75%.
Meetings scheduled in each state and D.C. will see 538 electors cast official ballots for both the president and vice president-elect Mike Pence. Trump won 306 of the 270 college votes needed in November's presidential election, beating his Democratic rival Hillary Clinton by a wide margin. She won the popular vote. Usually just a case of rubber stamping the result of the presidential election, this time the ballot takes place amid allegations Russian hackers tried to influence its outcome. Russian officials deny accusations of interference.
Russia's foreign ministry has responded to the murder of its ambassador in Turkey, and they have said this: we qualify what happened as a terror attack. We're currently in contact with Turkish authorities who are assuring us that a thorough, comprehensive investigation will be conducted. Murderers will be punished. Terrorism won't sustain. We will fight it. So some pretty strong words there from the Russian Foreign Ministry. The onus now very much on Turkish authorities to investigate who this man was, why he was there. This was a diplomatic party, if you will. It was an exhibition of Russian photographs in the capital, Ankara.
Gunmen in Jordan have carried out a series of attacks in the historic town of Kara, killing 10 people, including a Canadian tourist and 5 police officers. The unidentified attackers also opened fire at the ancient Crusader Castle. Local police confirmed that more than a dozen people who were held hostage by the gunmen have been freed. At least 29 people were taken to hospital, some with serious injuries. The identity and number of the assailants remain unknown, and no group has yet claimed responsibility. This latest attack marks the 4th deadly targeting of Jordanian security and army personnel this year.
On their way once again, the evacuation of the rebel-held enclave in eastern Aleppo resumed late Sunday night after 3 days of delays. Some of the thousands who've been waiting in desperate conditions were seen boarding the buses and ambulances. Earlier, vehicles sent to take people out of government-controlled areas besieged by rebels were set alight, halting the latest evacuation deal. There's still no clear information if that operation has begun again. In the meantime, the Syrian army and its allies have said a convoy that had been delayed for hours had now reached rebel-held al-Rashidin outside the city. The chaos surrounding the exodus reflects the complexity of Syria's civil war, with an array of groups and foreign interests involved on all sides. The United Nations has finally agreed on a compromise draft resolution on UN officials monitoring the evacuations. It will vote on the text Monday morning.
In Krakow on Sunday night, protesters tried to block the motorcade of the leader of the ruling Law and Justice Party. Jaroslaw Kaczynski, who has no formal role in government but is seen as highly influential, had come to honour the anniversary of the funeral of his brother and late president. Demonstrators in Warsaw at the weekend held up images of the outgoing head of the Constitutional Court. He leaves office on Monday after a long standoff with the government. Opponents say plans to reform the highest court are an attempt to tighten the government's grip on power. The Polish president was due to meet party leaders on Monday to try to defuse the row.
Waiting for news of their loved ones. At least 40 residents of this Siberian city dead after drinking bath oil. Others hospitalised. Investigators in Irkutsk say it contained methylated spirits. The people who drank it were thought to be seeking a cheap alternative to alcohol. Use of surrogate liquor is rife in Russia's poorer regions.
Investigators, along with police officers, are performing searches at markets. They've already confiscated about 2,250 ml bottles of bath oil. Everything has been sent for analysis. An investigation is underway.
2 people have been detained, suspected of distributing the oil. Labels on similar bottles say it shouldn't be swallowed.
You're looking at pictures of I-95 in Baltimore. This is it. At least 2 people were killed in a 55-car pileup. Another person was killed in an accident in Virginia. That brings the total to 3 people dead because of the weather just today. Freezing rain as much of the area is at a standstill there. This is a live picture near I-395, and you can see in the bottom left corner of your screen, extremely poor visibility. You could hardly see anything. In Indiana, there were nearly 200 accidents due to icy conditions. Indianapolis firefighters actually had to rescue people from I-465 via ladder because the road was so slick. You see the images there. Nationwide right now, 157 million people are under winter weather alerts.
There was a gasoline tanker that was involved in this crash. Unable to determine whether or not the tanker was the one that caused the initial problem. At this time, what we see is that the tanker was just a part of the crash itself. And it did go over the Jersey wall and it did explode, yes.
Broadcasted live by the SLU observatories in the Canary Islands. As you can see, numerous shooting stars defied the supermoon. The supermoon may possess a bright shine, but so does the Geminid. In this scenario, when the moon is out, the best way to combat the moon is to never focus your attention on it. And that's exactly what SLU observatories did here. And they were still treated to a show.